Yes, so welcome to our today's session. Today is the second week, which is week 2 of our Microsoft Excel challenge. Microsoft Excel Challenge 3. Yeah, so from the previous session, we covered about data entry in Microsoft Excel, but today we are going to look at something different. We are going to build on top of what we covered from the previous session. And maybe having said that, I will just have to share my screen so that we can be able to see some of the things that we were able to do in the previous session. So I'll start by sharing my screen, and maybe Vivian, you can confirm with me if you can be able to hear me loud and clear. If you can be able to hear me loud and clear.
I can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Huima, also thank you for joining us today. We are having a recap of what we did in the previous session.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. I think you are not able to finish our previous session, but yeah, you're welcome today. Yes, so I'll start by just showing some recap of what we covered in the previous session. So I hope we can you are able to see my screen, because sometimes I may be talking and my screen is not visible. Yeah, so if you don't see my screen and I am talking as if I am presenting something, please you let me know so that I can be able to correct that. So in the previous session, we talked about data entry in Microsoft Excel. So we looked at two ways of entering data in Excel. The first way is the normal typing. So let's create here some empty. I'll just do a recap, a very fast recap. Very fast. I'll not cover everything here. So maybe I have here employee ID. You can go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, Beyond Data Solutions, and you can be able to follow along about week 1, challenge 3, and see how we were able to come up with some solutions here. So let me see.
Hey, excuse me, sorry. Maybe it's from my side. I can't see the screen.
Yes.
If you are sharing, I'm not seeing it.
Okay. Let me just confirm that. Also from Vivian, is everything all right?
It is. I can see your screen. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, Wima, so I'll request you to leave the call and then come back. Just 1 second, leave and come back. Everything will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So previous session, we discussed about data entry in Excel. So for example, first name, employee ID, first name, last name, and maybe something like gender, and maybe you can record the date of birth of the employee, and maybe let's just have here salary, something very short. And then now we discussed about data entry in Excel. So for example, you can give a unique identifier like this to your employee, and then you can have first name. Let me use your name, Vivian. I'm sorry for using your name, but I'll not use the second one. Let me just use a random one here. And gender, female, and the date of birth is something like, let me just guess here, 1989, something like that. So we need to know here the date of birth clearly. And is someone talking? Something like this. I can help the person mute. Yeah, so if you've joined, please ensure that you're muted. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I have a lot of tabs here, a lot of things happening at the same time. Okay, so salary. So maybe the salary of the person, let's give it is in US dollars. So let's say it's 5,000 US dollars. So this is the normal data entry we looked at, which majority of the people usually use. But now, because we are data experts, we needed to see how we can be able to be more efficient and also minimize the entry errors. So the first one is the normal entry. As you've seen, I have just typed here everything. But now we have some things here, like for example, gender. We can be able to restrict, maybe to have a drop down because it is categorical variable. here. So in Excel, we can actually make that possible by coming to gender. When you go to the previous session, you'll see you go to gender, then you go to the data tab, you go to data validation. These are some of the things that you are doing in the previous week. You go to list, and then here you can say male and comma female. So Excel will be able to create here a drop down. Whenever you click on this drop down, you can be able to select male or be able to select female. So it saves time actually. And then also salary, because it's very sensitive, we do something also known as data validation, so that data can be in the range, so that the data can be in the range, so that the salary can be in the range, so that you don't want to mess up. Maybe if it's whole numbers, you can give the minimum salary. Maybe people earn is maybe 1,000, 1,000 as the minimum, $1,000 as the minimum salary, and maybe the maximum salary is $10,000. Yeah, depending on the organization. And then you click on OK. So this one means that there is a restriction. So you can see here, no one can know that there is a restriction here about the maximum value and the minimum value. So we can also amend that. When you go to a previous session, we will see how we were able to amend that about data validation. Here you come to input message. Here now you can say input message. You can put here title something like input message, and then salary, maybe salary ranges between something like that, between 1K to 10K, 10K, something like that. You see now there's an input message here where someone is now told that actually salary is 1K to 10K, so someone can know the maximum range. Huima, is everything all right? Can you be able to see my screen?
Yes, now I can see it.
Okay, okay, thank you. And there's someone who is not muted, so I don't know who that is. Please mute. Okay, thank you so much. So these were some of the things that we were doing, some data entry in Excel. So this one is called data validation. We validate data before it comes in. As I was narrating some stories before we started this session, is that majority of data scientists, data analysts, we spend 80% of our time cleaning data. So we usually prefer prevention than cure. So you better provide restrictions on how everything should stream in, and then actually gives you an ample time for you to be able to handle data. So some things like ID, this one you cannot be able to control unless you have, a number here, yeah, of course, this one you can type, there's no problem. First name, last name, there's no problem. You can provide first name, last name, and maybe you can also create a new column known as full name, which combines first name and last name. So those were some of the things that we covered on how we can concatenate. We call it concatenation. Can be able to concatenate this. The same concatenation that we use in computer science, in programming, is the same one that we use in Microsoft Excel. But we use a function known as concat in Excel for us to join that. Okay, so here salary, when I try to input value that is not in this range, you'll hear my computer making some noise. My computer will make some noise telling me this value did not match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. And actually, you can customize how this message can look like. You can go just to a previous video on week 1, challenge 3, and you will see how we were able to do this. I think up to there now we have an overview of what we did in the previous session, but also we did something to do with forms. So how can we be able to enter data using forms? So you just come here. You see here, I already have my form available. So if your form is not available, also go to a week 1 in Microsoft Excel, and you will see how we were able to guide those who we were with in the previous session on how to be able to enable forms. You see now forms here enables you, gives you an opportunity for you to be able to give here some information about anything, maybe something like this, just the dummy data, and maybe something like this, yeah, and maybe salary of yeah, something like that. And then when you press enter, it submits. And you can be able also again to fetch the data back. You can just find previous to load the data back and correct, and then submit, maybe find next. There is nothing to find. It will go new, click on new to start inputting new data. So you can also go to our video, previous session, see how we were able to come up with form. So today, Up to there, we want to discuss about some basic functions in Microsoft Excel. So before then, I just want to stop sharing a little bit so that I can be able to share with you the data set that we are going to use today. So I'll stop presenting here, and then I'll share with you the data set that we're going to use today. Unless there is a question so far. For those who have joined us, welcome. This is our second session. The first session was about data entry, as you've seen, but you can find more recording on our YouTube channel. And you can also request the recordings in my inbox on WhatsApp, and I can be able to send you directly some previous recordings so that you can be able to follow along. The previous session was our first session for challenge 3. So you can be able to follow along and be able to get the data, to get what we were able to cover in the previous session about data entry. So I have here a sample data. This data set was the assignment that we gave cohort 1, challenge 1. Those people who had joined us in the first challenge, we were able to give them some assignment here to do. And actually, they did wonderful work. So I have here sample data from our previous alumni, known as Grace. So you can just click on the data shared in the chat section, and it will be able to download to your desktop when you click on that link. And then we will be able to see what you can be able to do with that data. So just click on that data, download. Once you download the data, just show me the thumbs up so that I can know that you are able to download the data. Just click on the link, and then it will be able to download right away. So I recommend joining with your laptops so that the session can be interactive if you have your laptop with you. Yeah, so Vivian has already downloaded the data set. Someone else, please, if you are able to do that, you need to do that. That means you need to join with your laptop to this call so that we can be able to do that. So I'll go to my Excel. Okay, thank you, Hemstone. Hemstone has also downloaded. I'll go to my Excel and we'll be able to start. So I'll assume that we are able to download the data. At least 2 people have been able to download. So I believe everything is all right. Unless you have a challenge, you let me know. Yes, Sineno. Yes, Sineno, your hand is up. Or maybe does it mean that you already downloaded?
So I've already downloaded, but at the moment I'm using a phone.
Okay.
I'm far away
Okay.
from my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Sineno. Sineno, it seems like you're from Uganda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not
Thank you.
Kenya?
I know. Okay, thank you for joining us. So let's hope that you'll be able to follow along and maybe later get the recording and also do the same with your laptop. Pleasure having you. So I'll go to my Excel. So I'll start presenting again. So just in case you don't see my screen, you let me know so that anytime you feel like I'm presenting and it's not showing, please remember to alert me so that we can move together. So yeah, so that is that. So I have here data set from Grace. Yeah, so you can see some of the things that we gave for assignment 1, for challenge 1. You see, Grace was able to develop here some drop downs. You see, about the categories of the items that she suggested that she's selling maybe in the retail, depending on the problem statements that we gave them. Yeah, so you see, there is that message there. And also something like gender, there is also that. Kindly select from the drop-down list. So these are some of the things that we did in week 1, challenge 3 as well. So you can go to our YouTube channel, follow along, and you'll be able to learn more about that. Okay. So today we are going to learn about functions, and I request you to delete things that are here on that data set so that we can start from scratch. We delete the work that is here. So I'll just delete this something that I see here. But don't delete these ones. Don't delete these things you see here. Just leave them the way they are. Don't delete these ones. We just want to use the space that we have here. so that everything can be okay. So we want to be very attentive. So today you're going to deal with functions, basic functions in Microsoft Excel that we can use to improve our work. Of course, in the previous session, which is day one, week one, because we usually have Excel on every Friday. So week one, we covered some functions like concatenate, where you can use concatenate to join. For example, you can see here how concatenate work. You can use concat or concatenate, but Excel is advancing to only use concat if you have majority of cells to join together. But you can see here, we see Grace did here some repetition on how to lower, on how you was trying to nest some functions in Excel to combine these functions to convert this first name and last name to lowercase, so that when we are creating email should be a lowercase email. You see, so this is what Grace was trying to achieve here. But there is a best way of doing this rather than combining these functions like this. What you can do, first of all, you can concatenate everything, and then after concatenation, now you can proceed and use lower. For example, okay, let me just take everything back to how it was so that I can show you how we can be able to use somewhere else so that we can learn together. Because when I type here, it will really give you challenges. So I just want to drag this from here to here, like that. Then it's again, okay. So I want to show you how you can be able to write this. This is concatenate. We use it to join. You can learn it more on our YouTube channel on how we came up with it, on how to do this. So we use it to join texts. In programming, we call it strings. So we use it to join text together. We use concatenate function to join strings together. So for example, we can have this same results, but we don't have to repeat this lower function in Excel. We can use equal to. Excel allows us to nest functions. So if you feel like you need to lower everything, use lower function outside your concatenate function. You see, use lower function outside your concatenate. For me, I like using concat because it's the advanced version of concatenate. But because of that, because my alumni, our alumni was able to use concatenate, and let's use it because we don't want to cause maybe confusion or something. So I will reference to the cell that she was referencing, for example, Daniel, which is C4. So that means that the first function will lower everything. So Excel usually starts by performing the functions that are inside the cell, inside another function. It starts with the inside function, and then it goes to the outer function. So it will start by joining. So concatenate will join this cell to this cell. And then we want it to combine it with the domain name of the email address. For example, you are working with an organization and you have a domain name, for example, example.com. So we can have at company.com. Let me just use something like at company.com. That one can also be a domain for your organization. So you want to join these things together like this. And so let me just remove this lower so that you can see the importance of lower once I'm done with this. Let me just remove lower, and then we will add lower later. So when I have something like this, I have concatenate function alone. So you see we have Daniel capital D, we have N is capital, and we need everything small. So how can we be able to achieve that? We add lower function here before concatenate, so that we don't repeat ourselves lower on every text. We use it out here, then we close it. You see, we close it, we add it here. And then when we press that, we have the same result, the same as the results that we already have here. For those who have laptops, hope you are also trying the same to see. You can see the function is here. If you can be able to see, you can see it in the function bar here, the formula bar. You can see here the function. So unless you have any challenge in producing the same results, you can let me know. So these are text-based functions that we can be able to use. So you can use it to combine, to create email addresses. We can use it to generate full name. You see here, we can use concatenate to generate full name based on the first name and the last name of the individuals. The same way, if you are doing programming, maybe developing a software that will be able to print the full names of people, you need to use the concatenate function, depending on the programming language you're using, to be able to join. It depends with which programming language. So, yeah. Okay. So, hope that is clear. I'll remove it here now because our today's agenda is not to discuss about concatenate function. We want to start with working with the numeric here. Working with the numeric here. So we want to start with the simplest thing we call sum product function in Excel. So for example, we want to know how much do we have? Of course, here we can sum here and get the total. How much do we have from these cells? How much do we have? So maybe you can use sum. When we use sum here, we will be able to sum the amount. We can just sum the amount. Sum the amount. Sum function is used to sum, to add some cells, some set of cells together. So I want to sum from L2. L2, so I'll click on L2 and then drag up to L11, up to L11 like that, and then close the cell. So that is sum function. It will be able to add the amounts together. That is the sum function you can see here. Sum function. It's adding that amount together. So this is the total cells for this example given by our alumni Grace and Dan. And then remember, this is sum function. But now, remember we had quantity, we had price, we need amount. That means that for us to get amount, we must use product. Amount is given by the number of quantities times the price of each quantity. We get the amount here for each item. So you can use the formula. You can see the formula is just multiplication here, or you can use the products function in Excel to be able to compute the product of these two. And then you sum. That's why you usually hear sum product. You start by computing the product and then you sum. So the same way we can have the sum product function here. Let's see, sum product. So equal to sum product. I don't know if we are together, colleagues, if your sum function worked well. Yeah, I will confirm that. So we are going to sum product. So we want to get the same. You see, this is the total sum after products. But now we want to see how we can join the two functions together and then have sum product as one. So you can have sum product and then just select the first array. You can select this quantity, first array, then comma, quantity, the column for the quantity, the cells from cell J2 to J11, and then comma, and then you provide the second array. The second array is K2 to K11. They must be pair, and then you close your sum product function. It will also give you the same result as the one that we've been given here by the sum function that we already used here. So you can see this one is sum function. This is sum function. So this sum function is summing this amount. And then the sum product, what it's doing, it is doing the heavy work that we did by first trying to multiply everything, multiply, and then sum. But now this sum product, it starts with the product. So it is multiplying itself, multiplying, and then it sum. I want to see from the participants side what you've been able to achieve there. So I'll stop sharing here my screen and allow, yeah, Felix, thank you for joining. So we have the data set here in the chat section. Let me share with you again so that you can also be able to access the data set. And also Moffat, who have just joined us right now. So here's the data set I'm sharing again. If you don't have. So Vivian, I want you to share your screen because you had said you have your laptop with you, so that you can show us how we can reciprocate. We can be able to regenerate the same results that we had in the session. Maybe for those who have joined us. So just share your screen and yeah, show us. So we said that you start by deleting those average price of items, delete that in the data, delete those cells. These cells, not that one, the cells down below. Average price item, things like average price. Yeah, select all those cells. Yeah, those range of cells. Right click. Yeah, you can just delete like that, no problem. Yeah, so that's what we said you do. And then don't delete office equipment and supplies. If you were here in the previous session, you will know why we don't recommend you to delete those results that Grace Ndan was able to submit in the previous assignment. Grace Ndan was our alumni who did this assignment. So we are using her data to be able to use. Yes, Felix. Yes,
Okay,
Felix.
but my problem is I'm trying to download this data set and trying to open it, it's giving me corrupt, the file is corrupt or something. Who has the same problem? It's just me alone.
Yeah. So maybe maybe it's just you because this data set is actually it's very safe. Yeah. Felix is actually very safe. Yeah. Maybe you
Okay,
can re-download again.
Okay,
You
just
can
wait.
copy the link and also paste in the browser,
Okay.
then open it. Yeah, it's very safe. I'm the one who created it, so so it's actually very safe. Yeah. Thank you. So I will know. We'll give you opportunity to share your screen and maybe see maybe where the challenge is. Yeah. So let's proceed with the Vivian. So Vivian, you've used some function first of all to get the first result. So remember, this is like you have a record of quantity of items. You've recorded items by their name, the department, the categories of the quantities, and now of the items. And now you have the quantities, you have the price, you know. And now you need something like amount. So amount for the item sold, you must compute. For the item sold, you must compute from the quantity and the price. That's why you see there is an Excel formula computing the amount. And then from there, you sum the amount. We are summing amount down here to using the sum function. So suppose you are asked, what is our total revenue? What's our total revenue? And now you have these records. Remember, you will now start maybe summing start by computing the amount and then sum. But now I was showing you how we can use the sum product function in Excel to be able to do the same task. So Vivian, you can proceed with using the sum product function. So just say equal to, in that cell where you are, equal to, and then you use sum product function in Excel. And now you see it is asking you array. So this one does not work with cells, it works with the array. It is a range of cells. So in this case, you select the column with quantity items. So the numeric values alone. You start with J2 to J11 like that. Separate with a comma. You separate with a comma, and then you go to price. You also select the array for price. Select the array for price, and then you close. And then you close. You close. Once you close, you can press on enter. You can press enter to see the same results you had while you were doing the heavy work of first of all computing the amount, and then after computing the amount, being able to do the sum. So unless there is question there, is there any question there? I think everything is nice. You can stop sharing now, Vivian, unless there is a question from a member who has tried and maybe there's something that is not working. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we can be able to proceed now. Can be able to proceed. So Hemstone, I just need to know how many of us here. I know Sineno does not have laptop. I usually like exchanging the people, the participants who share their screen. So if you have your laptop here, you can raise your hand so that we can also give you an opportunity to share your screen. Yeah, and maybe guide you, or you can also guide us on how to accomplish a particular task. Yeah, so I don't know. Ashanafi. Yeah, Hemstone, thank you. Thank you, Hemstone. Ashanafi, do you have your laptop? And then Teresa. Yes, Hemstone?
I can share.
Oh, okay. Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything is okay.
Oh, okay. If it's all right, you don't share now. I will give you the opportunity to share in the next, in the next task. Yeah, so Teresa, I don't know. Oh, okay. Ashanaf, you have issue with your mic. Okay. That's acceptable. So you'll just be able to proceed. You'll just be able to proceed. Okay. So let me share my screen again, and then we proceed to the next function. So I think there is no question on some product and some function. So Beyond the Data Exercise Solutions has these things in the YouTube channel. If you want to learn all the sum functions in Excel, all the sum family, we call them sum family. So the sum if, sum ifs, I don't know what, everything about sum function. You just go to the Beyond the Data Solutions, go to Microsoft Excel playlist. You'll get there everything about sum. If you want count function, you can go there, learn about count function, and so many other functions that you can be able to use. And their families, we call them families. So I'll proceed and share the screen so that we can look at another function. So if you fail not to see my screen, you let me know so that we can also help you be able to have the same results. So that is sum function and the product function. So let's say you have here, let me just take it as a project and ask here ourselves questions based on this data that we have for Grace. So suppose you are asked, give us the salary, full name, give us the full name, and the, not the salary, the amount sold, the amount, full name, the amount, full name, and the amount of the item, of the customer ID, Maybe there is a customer who has come back and maybe is complaining about something. And now we need to know. And then there is a receipt that we gave the customer. So that means the receipt has a customer ID. So we want to know what is the full name of that customer ID. You see, what's the full name? You can see Excel is extending here itself. We showed how we can be able to accomplish this in the first session. So you can also do the same. You can go to the first, which is data entry in Excel, and be able to see how you can be able to automatically resize the column when you have a value that, column based on the value. So maybe you are asked, give us the full name and the amount of the customer ID 105. So that means that maybe there is a complaint, and now we need to know what is the full name of that customer. So we want to use here an Excel function to be able to accomplish that task. So we introduce a function known as VLOOKUP function in Excel, which we can use to fetch data. So here, I'll start by giving the columns that have been asked. So first of all, I start with the customer ID, which is a unique identifier, It must be a primary key. This one must be a primary key. In database, we call it primary key. So a unique identifier of each customer. And then we can go to the full name. Maybe they say they want the full name so that you can confirm if it is exactly the customer who has raised the complaint. And then we look at the amount of this customer. And maybe we can also need to know maybe the item that the customer bought. Maybe let's say item of the customer, the item name the customer bought. Let me see here what we have. Item name. Yeah, maybe item name of what the customer bought. And then now we can have the amount, something like that, amount. Yeah. So that now we can actually see if there is that relationship between the complaint and actually what we have in our database. Okay, so here we want to start by using the VLOOKUP to fetch the full name. Let's be very attentive here. So we start by saying equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup. So we are going to look into our data vertically. That's what it means. So we start by the lookup value. So lookup value is usually the primary key. Lookup value is usually the primary key. So you click here, you access the primary key. You see? So anytime you will be entering here any primary key, you will be able to get the full name of the person. Then comma. Then you are told what is the table array. So the table array is the original table. So let me say this table ranges from here. So I select my table like this. You select the table array like this. You see, up to the amount. I want up to the amount, and then I put a comma here. And then from there, I go to the next thing, which is the column index. So the column index here will be the column index of what you are looking for, the full name. So you have to start counting from this side. So you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see full name is column number 4. So that's what we call a column index. So you write here 4, you see, and then you put a comma. And then you are asked approximate match or exact match. So I'll go with the 0, which will be the exact match. And then this is the VLOOKUP function in Excel. I will repeat that so that you can be able to understand it. So the first thing is the lookup value. The lookup value is the value that will be where you will be entering the unique value to be able to return, if it exists, to return the full name. And then in which table, in which range, in which table, in which set of data. Here you have to specify the whole database where the full name is found and also the customer ID is found. So then from there, the column index you specify, you count from the left. Count from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you count where the full name is located. So remember, it will be doing like index and match. You have another function known as index and match. So it will be matching the index position of the customer ID to the respective full name, and then be able to return the full name of that person. And then exact match, 0 for exact match. And then from there, you can press enter to release. But now I want us to lock the table array. I want us to lock the table array because we want to make the cells absolute so that when we drag, the table range does not change. The table range does not change. So you have to put the dollar signs. You have to put the dollar signs for the absolute. So you are locking the columns, the range for the table not to change. But you leave the lookup value to be open. But however, we can lock it. We can lock it here. Yeah, we can lock it here to make it meaningful, because we also need to use the other items to fetch that. So we can lock the first alphabet, the alphabet letter G. We lock G alone. Maybe we can drag down if we want to apply to other cases. So we just lock to column G alone, column a G alone, and then we can press on enter here now, so that the VLOOKUP can be able to work. So our VLOOKUP here is ready. Our VLOOKUP here is ready. So anytime we input here any unique value for customer ID, it will be able to return the full name if the full name exists. If the full name does not exist, yeah, I will be able to give you the permission. Just hold on. If the full name does not exist, it will remain as NA. So we will also add another function to tell us not found. So before that, let's test if this works, and then I'll give you the permission to ask a question. So let's say they had told us that we look for the full name of this customer. So I'll just press 105, and then I can see the full name of this customer is James Kalondu. So I'll just check, is it true? Maybe in the original database, is it true that in 105 is James Kalondu in full name? Yes, it is James Kalondu. Okay. So before I allow for the question, I want to repeat the same here so that we can again learn. And then if there is a question, and then you can now ask. I know the question is on how we can repeat that. So let me repeat here. So I'll say, we said we start with equal sign and then V lookup. V lookup. And then the lookup value is the customer ID. So you see now you already here have existing customer ID. So you just press there. You put a comma. The table array. The table array, you see we have these things we are reading here. Lookup value, table array, column index, and so on. But if you're already used to it, you don't have to read every time you need to use this. So you just have to specify the lookup value. Then we go to the next one, which is about selecting the table array. So you select your table array like this. I'm selecting my table array up to amount. You ensure that item name is included. Item name is included in your table array. And then you put a comma and then the column index. So we count again. Here, full name was 4, was column number 4. So we go 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one will be column 8. This one will be column 8, column index 8, comma, and then exact match. So when you put here 1, it will be approximate match. Okay. Okay, so we can again also press enter and then see what is the name of the device. You see, for that James, it is this name. You see now it is here. It's looking at it very well. We can, however, again lock this. We can lock this using the $signs to make the cells absolute because currently they are relative. So we lock the table array, so that now this time around we don't want to repeat writing the same function. So we lock that, and also we lock G. We lock G here. Here we lock G alone. Yeah. And then I can now drag this. I don't want to repeat that. So I'll just drag this and then I will amend here from 8 to the number. Amount is which number? So this is 8, 9, 10, 11. So I change from 8 to 11 like this. And then I press enter. And now I have the amount here, which is corresponding to the item name here. And then James. You see? This data is very short. You can be able to look at it. Suppose you have 10,000 records, you can use this VLOOKUP function to be able to trace everything like this. Let me have questions now before we proceed. Any question? Let me stop sharing and then I'll share once I get the questions. Any question? Yes, Felix?
No, on my side, it's rather not a question, but I lost track after I mentioned that I had to go and try scan my device. I lost track, and I am here using my phone. So when I get back, I find people talking about VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is a function. No, if somebody else who was there, maybe I can see Teresa or Vivian or Sineno, can share her screen, and let me just have a quick view of what you just tackled, just in like 5 to 2 minutes, kindly.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Felix. That is how our sessions are always. So I have to show and then give also the opportunity for the participants also to share their screen so that we can be able also to see actually if we are learning. Yeah, so, and of course we guide, because for me personally, I believe that the best way of learning is by doing. So thank you, Felix, for that. So this time around, I will give Hemstone the opportunity to share his screen. And from there, we will repeat the VLOOKUP from Hemstone. And I think we will be good to go with VLOOKUP. Yeah, so Hemstone, if you are ready, you can share your screen.
I'm bit not ready. Hello.
Hello, Hemstone.
I'm a bit not ready.
Oh,
Can I see
okay.
from Teresa Ma Vivian?
Okay, okay. Let me see. Teresa, do you have your laptop there? You share your screen. Just sharing your screen, not necessarily that you will talk. Just helping us with your screen so that we can be able to showcase. Yeah. If you're not in the position, I know Vivian is ready. So Vivian, you can share your screen and we can be able to proceed. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so we have customer ID, full name, item name, amount. So we are saying, suppose you have, right now the question we had was, maybe you are asked from the management that, let me go to the question that I refreshed here. Give us the full name and the amount. Of course, it's now full name and the item name and the amount of the customer ID 105. So remember, maybe on the ticket we have customer IDs. As they come in, they go, they come, they go. And so now we need Excel to help us actually check if that customer ID exists in our database. And if so, return the full name, return the item name, and also return the amount that the customer paid. Maybe there's a complaint of excess payment or double invoice and so on. So that's what we are using here. And remember, this does not only apply on sales, but also on any other field that deals with data. Of course, everywhere there is data. So we now proceed. With setting the VLOOKUP function. So equal, start with the full name, go to the cell 18, the cell F18, yes. So we start by setting full name. We want to fetch full name. So we use equal to VLOOKUP. We call the vertical lookup function. We say the VLOOKUP stands for the vertical lookup function in Microsoft Excel. So we start by checking at the lookup value. So the lookup value, actually, it must be unique value. The best way of using the lookup value is having a unique value. So unique value is what we call customer ID. In database, we said we call it a primary key. Yeah, so lookup value, you can now select the cell that is empty below the customer ID, which is cell E18. You see, so that now anytime, so that the cell can be empty, anytime you input a value that exists, it should be able to help you fetch the data from a pool of the data that you already have. Then you put a comma, and then you go to the table array. So the table array, you start by selecting the customer ID. You can, of course, even select the date and so on, but it makes more sense starting with the customer ID because that actually is not part of the problem that we are looking for. So you select customer ID up to the amount. We are including everything up to the amount, like that range, yes. And then you put a comma, and then you put a comma, and then you put a comma, and then we now follow it with the column index. So column index, we must be able to count. Please, Vivian, just delete that entry up to there. Yes, up to there. So the column index, we go to column index number, you have to scroll to the other far end. Start with the far end, scroll your Excel to the far end left so that we can see the column index, column ID, the customer ID. So we count from customer ID in which position is full name. So we count. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is number 4. So the column index in this case, it will be 4. So you write 4 and then put a comma. So after putting a comma, there is an approximate match and exact match. Approximate match just means that suppose something is not found, you can return something that is next to it, so which is actually not good behavior. So we usually go with exact match. So remember, true false is 1 and 0 respectively. So sometimes we usually use 0 or use false. So you can just tap on the false or you can type 0. For me, I usually just use 0. Yeah, but you can use false like that. And then you can close your VLOOKUP function. But now, before you release the VLOOKUP function, we want to lock the table array. Actually, it's not necessarily to lock the table, but we are locking it just in case we want to drag. Yeah, we want to drag the results to anywhere else, either to the left or to the right or to the bottom or top. It should not be able to resize. The table array should not be able to resize. It should remain permanently in that range. When you try to resize, to drag down without locking, making the cells absolute, it will be able to resize. So if it resizes, it will fetch incorrectly. It will fetch data incorrectly. So that's why Vivian, now we request you to put some $ symbols before B, no, in the same function. Yeah, there. Before B, put a $. Before B, put a $. After B, put a $. Before L, put a $, and then after L, put a $. So we are locking the entire range of cells in the table array. And then we can also go further and lock the column, the lookup value. We only lock the column, which is E. So we want to lock E alone. However, we can be able to fetch multiple values. So we just lock E alone, just like that. And then we can release the function. We can release the VLOOKUP function. So just in case we input, right now our cell is blank, customer ID cell is blank. That's why you can see that function there. That error value there. But when you insert their value that exists in the range, it will be able to fetch the full name of the person. So Vivian, you can proceed and do that. Maybe if you can help us, maybe you can mute your maybe your WhatsApp so that it can stop popping up. But we'll do that later, so that once maybe we do this presentation, we can do that, and then later when we ask you to present, it will be sorted. Okay, so customer ID, put there 1 of 5 value. So first of all, we start by checking. Oh, actually, let's just check if this full name is going to come. Does the even full name exist? Let's see. Press enter. And now you see it is fetching that customer. Try to look for another customer who exists. For example, 109. For example, 109 instead of 105. You can also look at that. In the table array data, you can also check and cross-check that value is actually William Munene. And then, suppose you put their value that is not available. For example, 110. Suppose you put a value like 110. So it will be able to return the error. But now we need it to tell us not found. So we will go to that later. We will nest some function later. So just go to 105, the one we were asked to fetch, and then let's get the item name and then the amount. So I don't want you to repeat the VLOOKUP, writing the VLOOKUP function. I want you to drag the function you already have in the full name to the right. Drag to the right, drag again to amount also. And then now we want to change so that the results can read accurately. Just go there and then drag like that. it needs you to be patient. You can copy and paste. Try to copy that function and paste it in that next cell. Copy it and paste it in under amount. I see you are making, just delete this delete the first H18 in the formula bar, delete H18 and equal to, yeah. So copy everything there. And now go to the amount. No, copy from the cell, not from the formula bar. Just delete that. Yeah, just click outside, just click outside, and then go to that cell, then control C, and then go to amount, click on amount, then control V. Okay, it's yeah. So double click on that amount. Yeah. So everything is all right. So we just need to replace the column indexes. So we start by changing the column index for the item name. So full name was number 4, item name was number 8. You can count going to the right. From 4, full name, 5 is gender, email is 6, item category is 7, and then item name is 8. So replace that to 8, and then you can be able now to release your function. Yeah, so that is the item name. And then now we go to amount. So amount also, you have to replace the reference value, that column index number. So replace it to 11. We can count also to see if it's 11, because item name was number 8, number 9 is quantity, number 10 is price, and then number 11 is amount. So you can put 11 there. And now we can be able to return the amount of the person paid, the full name, and the item name of the person. So that's how we use the VLOOKUP function in Excel to be able to return the results. I don't know if we are together. Can someone show us thumbs up or any reaction from VLOOKUP? If everything is okay, you can show us your reaction. Maybe thumbs up, anything, unless you have a question. Thank you, Felix. Yeah, Hemstone, is the VLOOKUP okay with you now? Sineno, Sineno, is the VLOOKUP okay with you now? If you've been able to follow along, okay, thank you. Yeah, so you can be able to drag down like that, and so on and so on, and to see actually if the whatever you want really exists. You can be able to fetch like that, the way Vivian is fetching. Yeah, so you can be able to fetch across multiple values by dragging the cells down and also increasing the values of the fetch values. Okay, thank you so much, Vivian, for sharing your screen. Yeah, so Brian, also thank you for joining us today. Yeah, so I can now proceed to another function. So in this case, I want you, an assignment that we have index match, index and match. We have a function known as index and match. Go and research on index and match function in Excel, how we can use the index and match function in Excel. And then we have also a function known as HLOOKUP, is horizontal lookup. So I want you also, a part of an assignment, also to research on how we can be able to use the horizontal lookup. My assignment doesn't mean that you go and research and know, and then you know. No. My assignment is to go create case studies. Go create case studies on how you can be able to apply the index and match, and then on how you can be able to apply the HLOOKUP. Those are my 2 assignments. Create case studies, your own case studies, so you can decide the industry, you see, depending on your passion or what you do. I don't want you to give you the case study that maybe is not a part of your passion. So I want you to create your own case studies. As we meet every time, the first 15 minutes is usually a recap of what we covered in the previous session. So if you that time we also use it to explain about if there was an assignment, on how someone managed to maneuver about it, and actually we can be able to celebrate that. So look about go and research on the index and match function in Excel, and then also on the horizontal lookup. So I want to show you another function that we can be able to use in Excel, so that we can be able to improve our efficiency. Okay. So I want you also to go and research on X lookup. There is another function that we call X lookup. I want you also to research on it. X lookup is very useful because it is the advanced version of the V lookup, known as X lookup. Yeah, so it gives you the flexibility of being able to research on more than one value. So let me go to my Excel, share my screen. Let me share my screen. So share my screen here. So we want to look some simple functions as well in Excel that we can use just in case we need them. So for example, here we have the amounts. We have the amounts. So we can see we have here amounts and so on. So suppose we want the maximum amount. Is there someone who can show us how we can get the maximum amount here? The maximum amount. The maximum amount. Can someone help us get the maximum amount? Because when I tell us to fetch, to help us know which item has the highest price, it will be index and match. So which I require that you research on the index and match, the very basic index and match. And then when it comes to building complex functions, Excel does not only rely on one function. You can combine more than one function in Excel and create a very robust workflow in Excel that you can be able to work with and even share with other people as well. So we want to look for the maximum amount here. So we want to learn about average function. We want to learn about maximum function, maximum, and also minimum. Yeah, average, maximum, minimum. So what is the average price of the items? Suppose you had asked, what is the average price of the items? So you'll have to use the average function in Excel to be able to get the results that you want. So for example, what's the average price? So I'll just select the range of price here, use equal to average, and then I select the range of price here. Rather than selecting each cell, like what Grace did is selecting cell by cell like this, comma, come here, comma, come here, comma, come here, comma. Yeah, so you can do that the rest of your day if you have 10 million entries. So you can put your cell here, you can write the average and then open your cell, open your function, and then click on the first where you want to start. And then you can hold on shift, you can hold on control shift, and then you click on drop down arrow, control shift drop down arrow, drop down arrow on your keyboard. We have navigation what we call them navigation tabs. So down navigation is what I'm referring to as the drop down arrow, the down arrow actually. So you see, you can even select if there are 10,000 rows, you can select them, but just by doing that. You see, sometimes it's usually cumbersome doing this. Click here and then you start selecting like this. You see, this is also sometimes cumbersome when you have a lot of data. So you usually save time by you click on the first entry where you want to start, and then you control shift at the same time, hold control shift at the same time, then the drop down. You see, when you maximize it is going beyond the expectation. Just hold it once and then it will stop here. If you hold it again, it will go down and down. So yeah. So and then from there now we'll have the range of our average. Then we can release the average function. Now we can confidently say that the average price of the items that we sell is 16,590. If you want to return the maximum, we say equal to max, and then we open the function. So max, we also select the range that we want to fetch maximum from. And then we release the maximum function. So maximum function is telling us the maximum price. The maximum price we have here for an item is 48,000. Is 48,000. So when you have already learned about index and match, you can be able to combine index and match to return the exact name of the item that has the maximum price by joining with the maximum function. So you need to research on the index and match, and also try to see this, how you can be able to accomplish that as part of your application of the index and match. Next function is minimum. Minimum is equal to mean, equal to mean, and then select the range of the cells you want to fetch for the minimum value, like that, and then you also release the function. So you're being told the minimum price for the items that we have in stock is 1,600. So up to that point, I would like to know if we are getting something out of this session. So maybe I see some kind of reactions about the session. Yeah, Vivian, your hand is up. So I'll just stop sharing and then listen to you. Vivian, your hand is up.
Sorry, I wanted to answer. You asked about the maximum value.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I didn't hear the sound for the hands up. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is everything all right, colleagues? Is everything all right? Okay, Hemstone, thank you for the reaction. Okay, yeah, so Felix, is everything okay so far?
Yes, everything is okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that is the basic functions that you can never miss to use when you're dealing with the data in Microsoft Excel. Those are very basic functions that you cannot miss to use in accomplishing tasks that relate to data analysis. You want to know maximum, minimum, so on. And we have a function that we call count and counter. So I just want to help you differentiate between count and counter function. But however, you can get these functions in the YouTube channel on count function family. So count function is used to count numeric values. When I use count function here, and maybe I want to know how many items do I have, and I go to maybe count based on the customers. So maybe, for example, I want to count in this range. You see, Excel with the count function, it will return 0. It will return 0 because count function is used for counting numeric values. You see, Excel is returning 0, colleagues. Excel is returning 0. So count function is used for counting numerical values. So this is count function. So you need to note that. You need to be very keen while using count and counter function. However, counter function is used now to count. Counter function can be used now to count everything that we have. It counts a cell that is not blank. no missing values, not blank. So we can be able to select a cell like this, and now counter function can be able to help us return the number of items that we have. I unfortunately wrote it here, so I can just write it here. You see, counter function is returning the number of items that we have. But now when we change the count function from this range, from this, and maybe we give it this column known as K, maybe I change it from E to K, it will be able to return 10 because it is used to counting numeric values. So it will be able to return 10 as well, just like the counter function here. Yeah. So maybe you want to know how many male and how many female customers do I have so far. So you have to use count if function. This function, you can get them actually on our YouTube channel, how you can be able to use them. For example, count if is a function that you can be able to use to return how many male and how many female do I have. So what you do, you write count if function, you write count if, and then the range, you select the range. The range, you select the column that you're fetching. I'm fetching this column. And then I'm asked the criteria. So I'll just put a comma and then criteria. Maybe, for example, I want to count how many male do I have. And maybe Vivian will help us count how many female do we have. So from this data, I can now maybe know how many male do I have? How many female do I have? So here we are looking at male. So we have 6 male customers. Count of male, 6 male customers. And now you can proceed and do the count of female. You'll stop sharing so that Vivian can help us do that because she has the laptop. So you can help us do the count function for female so that we can return that. Yeah, so I'll stop sharing and you can share your screen. And if you can talk, maybe, yeah, I think, yeah, it will be okay. Yeah, so you have to close the string. How to close the string female that you have? Yeah, yeah, it's already closed now. It's okay now. Okay. Yeah, so that is it. That's how we use the count if function in Excel to be able to return a number of some things that we want to count. So that is about functions in Excel. So I'm going to cover about some last part of things that you can also again find in our YouTube channel, if not in the previous sessions, about conditional formatting. So you have looked about functions. These are just some basic functions that you can use. We have a lot of sophisticated functions, but this is the building block of functions. There's something that I did not show you, colleagues, about VLOOKUP. Suppose the value is not found. I don't know if Irene, you still have, not Irene, Irene was there, was my previous student also in the previous challenges. So Vivian, do you still have the results for VLOOKUP or something?
Yeah, I still have them.
Okay, let me stop sharing and allow you to share. And we want to just show as something on VLOOKUP, an additional on how to return not found if the unique value you're looking for is not in our database. And then from there, we can now continue to conditional formatting. in Microsoft Excel. So I'll stop sharing, and then Vivian, you can proceed and share your screen. Okay, so I want us to add, in Excel, the good thing with Excel is that we can combine as many functions as possible. But we have to take precautions that we are understanding what we are combining. We must know what we want to achieve. Once you know what you want to achieve, everything is possible in Microsoft Excel, either using the functions themselves or even developing macros and also the VBA in Excel. But okay, so let's proceed with showing how to add a not found. So Vivian, I want you to go to row cell F18. Cell F18. F18. Yes, the first cell we started with. Yes. So I want us to add a function on that range of double click on that cell, in that cell, and then now before VLOOKUP, we want to add a function known as if error. So type there if error. You see it's there, double click on it. Double click again in that cell. Yeah, double click in that cell, Yeah, just change that to if error, if double click not once. Yeah, double click like that. It has opened. So I want you, once you click on that, it has opened, go to the end. Go to the end of everything outside there. Yes, put a comma. So if error, so you're telling Excel is just like try and catch. In programming, where you're trying to you're trying to handle errors, error handling in programming. So in Excel, we also handle errors. So we are using if error to be able to handle errors. So if there is an error, then we need Excel to return not found. So you put in quotes and then type not found. You put in quotes and then type not found. Then you close the quotes and then you close the function. As simple as that. You just add that and then press enter. And now anytime you enter the customer ID that is not in that, then it will return not found in that cell alone. You see? So you have to apply the same to all other cells for you to achieve the same throughout. Yeah, but you can do that later on. Unless there is a question there, colleagues. I think that is very informative because I could not leave that out. Ningesumbukana sana. Ningesumbukana sana na kutofanikisha hilo. Okay. Yeah, so I think everything is all right so far. No question. I even also feel nice. I can also react to the session so far. Okay. So we are going to conditional formatting, which is going to be our last part of our session today, and we wait for the next session next Friday, which is also going to be more informative, and you cannot afford to miss. Let me share my screen, and we continue to the conditional formatting. So conditional formatting, yeah. Okay, just using the simple data. However, you can use whichever data you want. It is easier for people to digest a simple data than sophisticated data. So suppose I want to maybe give colors to the amount of this, give color cell on these cells based on the value that are contained here. So that's what we do by looking at the conditional formatting. We have a full playlist about conditional formatting on our YouTube channel. You can go there You go to home, conditional formatting. There's a full playlist on how to use all these things you see here, colleagues. But now, because of time, sorry, you will just be able to focus on a few. And now let's start by looking at the color scale. So color scale is going to give us color scales, yes, based on the value contained in the cell. So it is going to use a logic of partitioning our data into percentages. The first range usually ranges between 0 to 33, and then the second one from 33 to 68, and then the last one, any value beyond that percentage, it is going to be formatted with another color like green. So 3 color scale, that's 3 color scale. I'm talking about 3 color scale. So you can see, you can decide any type of color that you want. So you see, for example, like here. So the green color symbolizes values that are maximum values, like big values that we have, big cells that we have. And then you see the color goes like fading. The color fades until it comes to red. From green to very light green, and then yellow, and then from yellow it now turns to red. You see, so this is 3 color scale, 3 color scale. So let's go and learn more about that. We manage rules. So you go here, you go to manage rules, go to conditional formatting, then you go to manage rules. Please remember, we went to conditional formatting, and then we used this red. We used this green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red. See, red, yellow, green color scale. So it depends with which one do you want maximum, which one do you want minimum. So I choose one, either of these, but you can choose anything that you want. So I just want to go to manage rules so that we can see how our color scale happened here. You can see this is how our color scale was applied. So as the value tends to go higher, it goes like that. That's got green and green. So you can see here when I click on edit rules, you can see the format style here is 3 color scale. However, you can change to even 2 color scale, or you can even change to data bus, or you can even change to the icon sets. We are also going to see that, but there's already a playlist on this, how you can be able to do that. So for example, when you have minimum values, you can decide which one is the lowest value. You want to look at the lowest value, or you have a specific number, or is it percentages, and so on. What is the midpoint? The midpoint is the 50%, the midpoint. And then the highest value to be given green color. You can decide which color you want. You see, you can change everything here, customize the way you want. All these are different ways giving you capabilities of you even formatting only unique values, checking for duplicates. You know, when you deal with data, you really need this knowledge with you. Need to format only cells that contain particular value. You need to do what? So all these things you really need to understand all of them. Yeah, so that's how we can be able to use the color scale in Excel. So for example, when we add here an icon set, so I'll just select the range like this, then you go to conditional formatting and maybe add icon sets, you see? So maybe I want to give them icon set like this, based on the highest value, you see? Icon sets like this, I can extend this to see it clearly, you see? You can now see I have this color. If I want to use these are like the traffic lights. Yeah, so it's like raising a flag. There is also an option of also using the flag. If you want in the icon set, you can go to conditional formatting and then go to icon set, and also you can use flags, you see, instead of the you can flag values that are doing well. Flag with red shows actually there is something that needs to be done, and so on and so on. So all this knowledge, it's very, very important for us to understand how it really works. But as a data person, or whatever you're doing with the data, you need to ensure that you understand these basic things. They are very, very helpful. So I will allow someone to present to us on how we can use conditional formatting to do anything on price. You can give us your case study on price, and then you can do the formatting. If you don't even have your laptop, you can just tell us and then we give someone permission who has laptop, and then you'll guide the person until you achieve something on quantity and price, and then that will be okay. So I'll stop sharing and maybe ask anyone who has a case study to apply on the data that we have so that we can learn about that conditional formatting on price or quantity. Anyone willing to give us an example, and then you guide us? If you don't have your laptop, Vivian will share her screen so that we can be able to accomplish this task. At least we apply. So maybe we start with you, Vivian, and then from there, yeah, everything will be okay. So we start with you. You can share your screen and maybe just show us anything about conditional formatting based on price. Yeah. And if you do it, please, we request that you unmute and tell us what you'll be doing.
So I'm doing conditional formatting on the column price, on the price column, using the color
Yes,
scale.
yes, relax. Yeah, okay, continue. So you're using color scale, okay.
Yeah. So according to this scale,
Yeah, click outside that so that we can see it clearly. Click outside, click somewhere outside. So you can tell us, what does your scale tell us?
the scale has ranked the values from the largest, giving the values different colors. For
Yes.
instance, the largest value in my I have for 50,000 being given color red. Then the lowest value has green, which is 2,500.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's nice. So as I also like saying is that anyone can be able to produce the results, but storytelling, make the data be informative, leave a story. Yeah. So Vivian, thank you for that story, that our highest data that we can be able to have is 450,000 and is being given a red color. And so sometimes also colors have meaning. Sometimes color have meaning. So when we give it a red, maybe it's something that requires that when we have a very extreme value, we should flag it with the red color and so on. But actually colors have meaning when it comes to data. So for example, green color is usually recommended when you're dealing with maybe giving appreciation to something. We usually like using green color. And then when you're using, when you feel something is not good, you can use red. Yeah, but this is okay because it's also telling us, actually very informative. We can easily see which value is the highest. This is good, Vivian. Thank you so much. So Brian, do you have something? Stop share. Oh, don't stop sharing. Don't stop sharing, Vivian. You can continue playing around with the with the with the conditional formatting as I ask Brian if he has something.
Okay.
Brian, good evening. How are you? Thank you for
Hello.
joining.
I hope you're fine. I'm fine too.
Yes.
So my input is maybe you can create another column.
Yes.
Column N.
Column N. Yes.
Then this will indicate it either it's profit or loss. Maybe you can name it that way.
So give it which name? Profit stroke loss or okay. Continue.
Then go to the condition formatting. Then new rule. New rule.
Yeah.
She's using new rule.
Then its format only says based on the values. Scroll to the bottom.
Where
Use your
exactly?
arrow key on your laptop to scroll down. Use your arrow key, yeah, to scroll down like that. Okay.
Format the values, yeah. And then you're going to use that to create a list.
Yeah.
Now you can say format. It's not this one. Go to number. Not that one. Madanga.
Yes, Brian.
Your input. I want us to use list for this conditional formatting. We can have a list of 3 items or 2 that each cell we can select either is a profit or loss.
Okay, now Brian, you know that one requires that we have the buying price.
Oh, we just use a fictional one, and then someone they will use it to apply their case studies and they are doing their data. Go back, you can cancel there and go to condition formatting once again. It says here we can create our formula.
The new rule.
Yeah. And then on the one to select, it says that we create ours.
Use of
Format values above. It's not that one.
Brian, that one is the one that is usually used to create your own formulas. If you wanted to create a formula, you use a formula to determine which cells to format, unless there is maybe something else.
Maybe Emstone can be showing you another one while I brainstorm on that one.
Okay, Brian. Yeah, so you can just close that, Vivian. Okay. So Hemstone, do you have maybe something to add, or maybe tell us on how we can format quantity? If you can hear us, it has been long since you've been silent. Hemstone. Hemstone, we cannot hear you if you are talking. Okay. Yeah, so Brian, we can give you time to maybe brainstorm on the solution that you wanted. Yeah, and then you can share that. You can join us in the next session early enough, and then you can be able to use the same data to showcase something that you also wanted to showcase. That will be very nice, Brian, so that you can also have enough time to come up with the solution. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. Yeah, so up to that point, we have here a feedback form that you have to fill. Thank you, Hemstone. I've seen your message. So fill the feedback form. Let's get to know what is it that you feel about this session. So let's tune in to the next session very early, 6:15 to 6:30 for recap, and then we start our session.